Détente. So the arms race between the USA and USSR meant that both sides had such a massive cache of weapons that any nuclear war would essentially result in mad or mutually assured destruction. Neither side wanted this, and so during the 1970s they came to an understanding known as Détente. This means peace between two countries that are previously at odds with one another, or certainly being more cooperative. And this had benefits for the world as a whole, but certainly for the USA and USSR, because both countries would be able to spend less on nuclear weapons and instead use that money on things more important to those countries, such as for the USA, improving inequalities and poverty at home, and for the USSR, dealing with poor living standards and an economy that wasn't developing as fast as it would like to. There were a number of key features to Détente, the first of which was the Strategic Arms Limitation Treaty of 1972. This was the result of a number of years of negotiations, and it was a public agreement between the USA and USSR that was aiming to limit weapons, and it was symbolically very important. It said that anti-ballistic missiles would only be allowed at 2 sites. There'd be a maximum of 1,000 missiles. As an interim treaty agreed limits on the use of ballistic missiles as well, and laid out principles for the conduct of a future or potential nuclear war. But of course it would only work if it covered the latest technology, which it did not, and it was unlikely that a signed piece of paper would actually stop a nuclear warfare if one were to come about. A second key element or feature of Détente were the Helsinki Accords. This was the high point of Détente because it involved signatures from 33 different countries, made up of countries that were part of the Warsaw Pact and NATO, and they reached agreement on 3 broad areas. These 3 broad areas were European borders, international cooperation, and human rights. And a final feature of Détente was the planned SALT II Treaty, which was discussed up until 1979 by President Jimmy Carter and Brezhnev of the USSR. It would agree or include restrictions on missile launchers, strategic bombers, and the testing of nuclear missiles. And by this point, relations between the two countries were quite good. Unfortunately, this treaty was never to be ratified as a result of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan.